Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. I have my crystal ball off to the side, so I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different, and if you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do if it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, you just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So let's go ahead and let's begin. Okay. Whew. It's gonna be one of those. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay, this is a very powerful message that's coming through. Whoever this message is for, right? And so use discernment, see if this message is even for you. Whoever's message this is, we've already gone through the practice of exploring love, exploring boundaries, exploring, you know, how much we love ourselves. We've already done that rigmarole, right? We've gone into the solar plexus, personal power. I am now my own authority, sitting in my own sovereignty. And now that energy is sinking down. You may be experiencing the warming of the sacral centers. You may be going into issues with primal roots. And one of the things that's happening in this space is the grounding down of that sort of divine essence into the primal mind. So what this looks like, I've been getting messages like this coming out for this collective. What this looks like is a greater and deeper understanding of the reflection, right? The reflected nature of reality. And I hesitate to even say reflection because that's a story, right? The oneness. This is the next phase. You may be starting to feel the inklings of that root chakra really opening up because of this, of that starting to be charged by this sort of divine energy as well, as you ground down the consciousness that is behind into your ego identity. We're pulling something through. We're pulling something. It's like pulling God through, right? Okay. I'm all abuzz over here. All abuzz. All abuzz. Okay, Akashic Records. Clearing old stories, releasing past lives, and freedom. We're stepping outside of those stories. Some of you may even be understanding the whole Akashic Record thing as a construct now, where previously you did not. This is a very important time, whoever this message is for, absolutely. Sword of Light, divine protection, cords cut, breakthrough energy. I'm being drawn to that breakthrough energy. The cords being cut being the cords inside the mind. They're the cords of that sword. And there's something here that's being lit on fire. This feels like an object. So if you have, for example, mystical experiences or visions, you may have seen an object that was lit on fire, that was handed to you, particularly somewhere within the torso area. Okay. And then we have Akashic coming through again, so that unified field is very important. The field of consciousness, very important to this reading. And again, we have the mirrors, the reflection, those rainbows that keep trying to come through. Aligned with purpose, crossroads, no wrong path. We've released the ideas of being on the right path, right? We've released the idea of having to make a choice. We're sitting in the very center, right? When you have a crossroad, usually you have four roads and the four directions. We're sitting in the center of our own personal universe with this card showing up. It's showing me stars, it's showing me rainbows, it's showing me earth, it's showing me the charging of the positive and negative ions with the what's it called? The Aurora Borealis. And then it's showing me like this sort of like stardust coming through. So there's this very cosmic theme, themes of origination, the beginning, the end, themes of masculine, feminine energy, themes of hope, right? Non-resistance, and how we're grounding that down on a practical level into our earth walk. Or the illusion of. Adventure. That came out yesterday. So in this adventure, we have this... Sorry, I'm going to start laughing now. Personal joke between myself and the divine. Oh, you're funny. All right. We have adventure, and it's this sort of shape that we see all throughout creation, right? This spiraling out, and this is what someone is starting to embrace. They're embracing the adventure, the way that everything spirals out from a central core. I am the singularity. There's something very important about water in this space as well, the flow. Right, the flow of the emotion ocean, and how that is essentially one of the things that keeps that shell in place. So rather than being concentrated on the pearl, we are concentrated on the shell, right? How will it open? Will it close? Is it going to defy me? How resistant is it? Do I have to battle it? Do I have to smash it with a rock? These are themes that have been coming up inside of somebody's life. And if you're not following this reading, it just means that the reading's not for you, because whoever this message is for, they'll definitely be understanding what I'm talking about here. There may be an analysis in this space as we're feeling that center kind of get supercharged with this divine energy. We may be having this analysis in this phase of our life in terms of the things that we previously thought were fishy, right? Resistance of self. And I do think that whoever this message is for, you have been using others almost as a reflection to highlight to you your own insecurities, your own vulnerabilities. And maybe you have extended yourself into viewing others as archetypes that exist within you. And as you heal those archetypes within you, you're noticing the change take place in real time with the archetypes outside of you. This is the adventure. This is the great work, right? And whoever's message this is, you're on a profound journey. You are on a profound journey, my friend. Okay. The hero. The hero's journey. Someone is turning around and, oh man. Okay, so I'm recording this on Friday. I Scry with Steph, hero. This is something that kept coming up in her reading. So if you're resonating with this reading, I highly advise that you make your way over to I Scry with Steph and check out her reading for Friday. Here with the hero, there's something about the hero. There's something important about white owls. I believe that also came out in her reading. If it didn't, it came out in her extended. But we have two swords showing up. Right, so there's a heavy theme about laying down the sword, and we do that in layers. On one hand, earlier in our journey, and I don't want to say too early, it's actually quite far along in our journey for many of us, we put down the sword towards people, and that we realize that we're fighting a battle, that we can't win because we're the only ones trying to fight it. And at some point we go down a layer and we realize that it shows up in a sort of resistant energy in the stories that we have about the archetypes that we're surrounded by, rather than seeing that those archetypes are you. And so whoever's message this is for, this is the current that you're currently working in, is you're working in this current of understanding that everything is part of you, right? You're exploring that oneness, which is why it goes back to that sacral center, right? This is a primal connection, primal roots. And here with the 2 and 5, the idea of duality is starting to change. The idea of partnership is starting to change. The idea of how we interact is beginning to change. And rather than facing forward with that sword, we're turning back into the darkest parts of self. And I'm really being drawn to this sort of Thor's hammer that is on this individual's ring. So there may be something about Thursday that's important for somebody. This coming Thursday, there may be something very important. If you're watching this at the time that I'm reading this, or if you're watching this in the future, whatever Thursday follows, there may be something important. For some of you, it might have been the previous Thursday, but I feel that this is actually, even though they're looking backward, it's predictive. There's something very important on a Thursday that's coming up for someone. Now, it's funny. Another thing that's coming through with that is this idea that each one of us comes in with this sort of hero's journey story, right? And this is one reason why we have a sword to begin with, right? We have to protect, we have to save ourselves, we have to, all these things. And whoever this message is for, because you've gotten to this place, you realize that that was never the case at all. You were on an adventure. You were just on an adventure. And I just start laughing again. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. The duality of the two minds showing up on the bottom. Underneath that, the magician who is actually in control, and the bottom of that, the maiden, the innocence that is the controller. So there's been a lot of inner child work for whoever this message is for, and it's actually through the inner child that you've come to understand who's actually in control. Here what we have is we have the Queen of the Golden Bow. She's very preoccupied with the things going on around her. I always think this is a magician owl carrying a register. I know that's not the case, but look at him. He looks like he's holding a register. And there's these other figures all down here. Some of them are kind of creepy. And then in the background, there's this figure that always wigs me out, but I actually really like him because I like things that wig me out. And back there's this a sinister sort of figure. But why is he so sinister? Because we're not used to red eyes. There's like a consciousness that we're tapping into that we're not used to. Some of you may be feeling it in your core, rising up like a black shimmery pillar. Some of you may be experiencing it in other ways. You may be having dreams about, for example, deities. For some of you, it's going to still be taking a form. For others of you, it won't take a form anymore. And the reason why is because you no longer need it to take a form to interact with it. They only take forms when we need that for interaction, right? So whatever this is cosmic stuff. And this is the true self emerging. The true self behind the ego identity, true self, right? The self of selves. And this is something that is having this experience. It just required your ego identity to play. So we're coming into ourself, whoever this message is for, and the broader understanding of what that self means. The oneness, again, going back into that. That is a theme that's coming out inside the collective that I've been reading for. I'm really happy to be on that journey with you, to basically be seeing this story unfold for all of you, because this is powerful stuff. Whoever this message is for, you've gone through the trials, the tribulations, the tests of Hercules. Even certain things that come up in the trials of Hercules may have come up for you. For example, a lot of Medusa themes are coming out in the collective for the last 2 years. And if you are used to working the archetypes, then you understand what her archetype represents, and you probably have worked towards healing that archetype within yourself. This is where everything is starting to coalesce and come together, and we're understanding the nature of reality in some way. There is a heavy theme of enlightenment coming through with this sort of light. There are brief moments, just like that laughter that I was having. There's these brief moments that someone is experiencing of intense joy and intense, it is kind of funny, the cosmic joke, right? It's that sort of energy is coming through for somebody. Some of you may be experiencing it more like intense bliss. Okay. One of the questions that you may have been asking yourself is this, right? And I want to frame it differently. This is, if you knew you would be supported, what would you do? I want to frame it more as, if you knew everything was actually all okay, how would you perceive the world? How would you perceive people? Someone here, we have stepped outside of the myopic human view, and we've gotten the God view. And this is what is allowing somebody to free themselves from the labels and the limitations and all of the things that are kind of the trappings of the solar plexus, right? We come into our authenticity, we express our power, we understand who we are. And it's only as we sink down into that sacral space that we retain that power, but the illusion starts to dissolve as we start grounding down that energy. There's a catch-22 there, right? Sacral energy is very much about creativity and reproduction and some primal stuff, since it is so close to that root center. And but when we're allowing our phases of our spiritual energy to start descending into our energy system, this is a little bit of a different expression of the sacral chakra. This now becomes our connection. Here with share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution and expression, and priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? I don't necessarily feel that this is about going out and doing. For some of you it may be. You may feel that that's part of this. More so than that, what I'm feeling is that this is about coming out of the idea of persecution, of having these battles of the resistance, coming out of the resistance, and allowing ourselves to step up and be the energy and be the center that affects the change, right? Not forcibly, not vocally, energetically, by first making the focus and having the conversation in here. Right. So whoever's message this is pretty evolved stuff, and I love it. So I'm gonna leave this here, and if you resonate with this, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave the comment. I don't know why it's the comment, but maybe it's the comment. And until next time.